Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's no way you can
There
really
should
word
be a
it,
point in
because you
there.
don't know how they word it.
You should be able to go through that.
Okay, I'm
Yeah,
gonna call the
I
meeting of the River Plantation
And when you get to a certain point, you get on there for those
Municipal
problems,
Utility District
you
Board of
should be able to put
Directors
something in there saying, this is not
at
working.
6:30 p.m. on this is February 23rd, 2023. First item on the agenda is to approve the minutes of the meeting from January 26th of 2023. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I make that motion that we approve the minutes, no comments.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? No. Okay. All right, receive comments from the public. Can I get the list? Dee, are you first? You were first
I'm
one here,
first.
so I'm assuming.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I want to talk about the tanks at 3.
Okay.
Now, they cost this district close to $1 million, and even Richard admitted later, we shouldn't have paid that, that was a developer cost. But we're stuck with that, and now that's been going on for 15 years, and we're paying monthly expenses. And I just went through a few that I thought of. Utilities, chlorine, other chemicals, the testing, the daily operator time, checking the facilities, maintenance and repair, permits, mowing and edging, insurance. I mean, it's about 180 months of stuff we shouldn't be paying for. And we have certainly enough water in this community, 1.5 million gallons of storage between us and East Plantation. And if we had that million back then, we probably might not have had this big bond issue, because we would have been taking care of stuff. So I just want to remind everybody, you've got a fiduciary responsibility to spend our money judiciously. And I will tell you, the TCEQ also said those tanks can be sold, there is a market for it. So that's it.
I have one comment. Remember during the floods, well number 2 was underwater? Then what do we do?
Go to East Plantation.
Well, we can't for a long term. We can temporarily, but not for
you know
long
what?
term.
We didn't, how many times have we actually had to do that? For all these years, not
Twice,
that
I know.
much.
And for how long?
Yeah,
Well-
it's not that long, it's not a big deal.
Harvey, it was, huh?
Didn't they refuse to open it?
Yeah, but we have, they have said that will not happen again.
Good.
But it could, if they turn, you never know.
Yeah, so,
So can you meet your firefighting requirements like that off East Plantation District?
no, not long term, that's why I
I
was
mean,
saying
if you
not
have a
long
fire
term.
in the neighborhood, you have 2 house fires, plus
Oh,
supplying
same
water,
time.
you gotta think of what the max demand can be, plus
That
add a comfort
Right,
amount too. So
Yeah.
you just can't cut it close like
right.
she's
Well,
proposing.
Yeah, I don't know. We'd have to
They do bring
do a
their own
study,
water.
like-
The fire department tells me they do bring their own water, it's quicker than tying up to the hydrant.
Sometimes, unless it's a substantial fire, yeah, so, yeah.
Hey, then the whole place will go up.
We're not quite as close to each other as one I went to today. I could reach out my car window and touch the house next to it, so, anyway, okay, we will. We are aware, okay? I'm gonna have to defer to the attorneys on this next one. So I have a request from a resident to be heard in executive session. Do we do that? Is that possible?
Can you hear us?
Let me say this, it is possible, it would only be really appropriate in certain circumstances, and there are certainly some privilege issues that could be involved. You know, I mean, obviously, we need an executive session to provide you with legal advice, confidential legal advice, and so if a third party, not a representative of the
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. Are we able to ask what the subject matter is?
You wanna say what the subject matter is?
The subject matter is the high water that's coming off of Charleston Park onto a lot that was given permission to construct. And it's now affecting not only us, but other neighbors that gathered together and was interchanging of the situation that has occurred now. So I want to discuss this, but I agree with what you're saying, that the executive session, you all would have to be also careful. I don't mind covering it and then leaving the meeting, and so you all continue on with your own privacy. That's fine with me, no problem.
But why do you want it in executive session?
Because of what's gonna be discussed, and I would like to kind of keep that private. And then we leave. That's all I want to do. We just want to address some situations more privately.
Would that type of stuff be more of a civil case as opposed to?
No.
Yeah, this subject matter would have to fit one of the exceptions for us to do this properly, and the only one that I can think of is pending or threatened litigation, and I don't know that the district is considering doing anything like that.
No.
So I don't know that I really don't feel comfortable that it meets that unless the board is considering, or would consider some sort of an enforcement action, which that is something we can talk about in executive session. And you can fact find in executive session, which would be what you were doing, but yes, our resident would need to leave before we provided legal advice, because they're not within that umbrella of the
Correct.
privilege.
And I don't mind, my husband and I, we agree with what you said, we would have to leave, and that's fine with us. Because Julie can get back with us on whatever is discussed on the matter that we will be presenting.
So y'all wanna think about that and then,
Yeah, I think it's gonna be the board's discretion. Obviously, you look to your lawyers for advice here, and again, it has to meet one of the exceptions, and the only one I can think of would be pending or threatened litigation. It's not the sale of real estate, it's not a personnel matter, it's not really even that sort of catch-all that is, you know, the duties, the ethical duties of candor to a client are not conducive to I don't think any of those fit. So it really would be, if there's some sort of enforcement action that the board would consider taking, I think you could talk about it in executive, but other than that, I don't think we lawfully can take up the matter in executive session. I'm sorry for that.
I can cite that there's been an example, at least two examples of water problems in the neighborhood that the board has addressed. And one of them, each of which they spent close to $200,000. One is Jubal Early. There was water problem there. It was introduced because of failing drainage that was put in by the homeowners. And the other one back there in the back, that where the party behind that particular house that was not part of railroad plantation changed the grade on his lot, and y'all went in and rescued that. And so you did that, as I understand it.
we didn't.
Well, there was drainage that was put in to support that particular lot, that homeowner.
We didn't do anything back there.
Well, who did?
Then either he did privately or
But here
East
again,
Plantation did, because that house is right.
in terms of
It wasn't
municipal,
us.
you're a municipal organization, you're not just a water district. You're a municipal organization, you have broader powers. And part of it is the responsibility of having a drainage in this neighborhood, maintaining it. I see the projects, but our particular area has no drainage
That's correct.
at all.
Well,
It
your
has no-
drainage is Charleston.
There's no storm sewers, there's no
Correct.
ditches, there's nothing. And so we have a lot that's been approved, and he's cleared the lot of all the vegetation of trees. And it's known that these are, they serve two purposes. One, taking up the water that's on that property and keeping it from going out into the other people's lots. And two, it serves a function to restrict the flow, the speed of water removal from that lot. And so we now have a home that's going to be put up there, which is fine. But anticipating that this is a problem, because across the street from us, the HOA at that point in time approved a lot to be put up. And they built it up, and when that built up, the neighbor to it said, my garage now floods. The lady across the street says her floods. And you look down there on Braxton Bragg where it comes out, then there's a home that flooded. Okay? And so now we have more water, and I don't think you can
But
disagree.
if the HOA approved it, we didn't approve it.
I know you did, but the way they did it was they went down to the red building, and it wasn't this board for sure. Went down there and asked for a sign and put it out on the lot and said HOA approved. They did nothing to, from an ACC standpoint, to verify, hey, we're going to build this lot up. Now, we know the drainage is going to change on this particular lot, and we need to anticipate it. And so you have a project here to look at the existing drainage in this subdivision, and you have 3 parties involved. And somebody needs to get all 3 together. That's the HOA, the county, and the MUD district. And get together, because each one will tell you, well, I'm responsible for this, but they're responsible for that. And we're responsible for telling them to get their own culverts repaired. And right now, there's 3 different parties, but nobody points the fingers and say, pointing to us and say, go to court and you spend your money to make you guys do what is part of the responsibility you have as a municipal district. And that's where we see there's a problem. And that's why it's 3 organizations, and someone needs to take the bull by the horns and set the 3 in there and look at the survey of the properties and see how the water flows. We know that it goes down the lot, it goes down an easement for which there are fences there, there's grasses there, and there's no ditch dug out when it hits Braxton Bragg. And so there's activity that needs to occur. And part of it, we're looking for groups to take the lead and do this. Homeowners don't do that. If I got out there and did it, then y'all say, what you doing cleaning out that neighbor's backyard and causing that additional flood? You are an authority, and you can't, and you're shirking your duty if you don't address it. And I pointed out to you what the dangers are, because we saw what happened that last rain 3 weeks ago. And it was at least 3 weeks ago we had a deluge, and we could see that additional water that was dumped there. And it took until just this Monday before the water drained up right up on that lot. And that guy's already dug out a deep hole in there, but he said he'd already told her he's going to put in so many yards of dirt in that lot. And you can see the standing water that's there where he uncovered the water table with what he dug out. And I don't know if he knows what he's doing. But if you look you go by there and look at how he's dug that out and say, well, is it going to be a foundation or what? Well, he got out there and he says he already told her Friday, that's tomorrow, he's going to be dumping dirt out there. He's already got a mound of dirt that he scraped off to the side. Now, it's not going to affect us, but I'm saying this is what we're looking at. They need to anticipate things and not wait till they happen. And if you look at it from a broader standpoint, I could go around Braxton Bragg, and I bet I could knock on doors and I could find neighbors and say, my water drainage has changed. And I know there's one over there, one guy told me, I never flooded as long as I've been here. And then whenever it didn't flood with Harvey, it didn't flood with Memorial Day. But there was that one out there on the freeway that rained real bad, and then his home flooded. And then they'll say, oh, it's just subsided. Well, that's not an engineering, there's engineering work that has to happen. A civil engineering, hydrologist, someone to go in there and look at the survey of the land and see the fall and have the rate of water removal and what can it handle in terms of inches per minute or inches per hour. And that's where it's just not here. And you're a municipal district. You're not just a water district, you're a municipal district. And that's where I don't want to see that avoided. That term, that's a legal term, lawyer, right? Spell out what municipal means in terms, you're not a city of Conroe, but you're a municipality, and you have police enforcement powers.
No, we don't have police and fire.
We are not a municipality, we are a municipal utility
That's right.
district. Commonly referred to as a water district.
There's different terminology.
We have limited regulatory powers when it comes to home construction. We absolutely have the ability to provide, own, operate, maintain drainage facilities, and you know, that's I guess that's where I'll leave it.
Yeah, maintain and address them where they're needed and where there's improvements needed and maintained, and it hasn't been done. I can show you on Braxton Bragg. How Charlie Riley came through one side of the street and he dug out the ditch that's halfway around. On the other side of the street, I called in a request and it never happened. That's maybe 6 years ago.
But we don't have anything to do with the county.
No, but I'm saying you have,
So-
you work together as a partner because what you have with the county, I've heard Taylor said before, that there's groups that have to work together because you can't dig this out and expect not to have problems upstream. And so it's a joint effort, and that's where, and you can look at neighbors that have busted culverts, and that someone said, if they'll get the culvert out there, the county will put it in. But you've got to make that homeowner, that's the HOA, put a new culvert out there so Charlie can come by and put it in. And then you got to have someone says, Charlie say, I don't clean out culverts, but, so.
We got your point,
What,
so.
one area too, and what has me very upset is that I told him, when he told me how he was gonna go onto your property and do what he was going to do and take down those big 3 trees and take out all those, I told him, why would you wanna do that? That adds as a barrier, that helps with the water. And he says, no, and I said, well, why you wanna do that? He deliberately told me he was going to do it because he wanted to be able to have his backyard with a nice open view, and he can be able to use the Charleston Park to be part of his backyard. And not only that, after he took out all of that, about a month, right around in there, a little bit over a month, they came back in and curved more onto your property so he could have more of a rounded view, And I am upset that the MUD have not fined him.
How do you know we haven't?
No problem. If you have, I'm glad. Shut up. I am shutting up as long as you're doing your
All right,
job.
Mr. Horner,
Have you got my packet?
was that the picture? That's the pictures. Yeah, Taylor,
I'm
we,
just following up on that empty lot on Fairway Court. We got sinkholes back there, destroyed collection,
did we ever get a grate over there?
no.
It's back here.
And now it's
It's back here?
expanded into the neighbor's property and it looks pretty bad with a pine tree that's lost part of its root ball
Okay,
and leaning.
well, we have, is that the one?
That's all the
That's that
pictures,
one, okay.
There's
Um,
another page in your portfolio that I put in.
That's the cement culvert thing that's damaged.
Yes.
That's a different one, or is that the
But,
one we know about? Oh, no, that's a different one. Have you seen that one?
Which one, where's this one right there?
That's right here on this,
Yeah, That's one
Fairway
of
Court
the
and,
original pictures given last spring
Yeah.
or whatever.
the grate is apparently sitting back here behind the garage. Okay, sitting behind the building.
That's what I mentioned.
Yeah, that grate, no, that's over here off Stonewall Jackson and Fairway
Remember I showed you
Fairway
that?
Oaks or Fairwayville? What is it, Fairway Oaks?
It's Fairway Oaks is
He
the
ordered the
street
pump.
end,
Okay.
Fairway Court is
Fairway
the
Court.
dead end.
Okay, gotcha.
But it's expanded into the neighbor's property and
Okay.
you'll see him standing there. But if you can get back with him on that.
Okay, I know exactly where it is, so.
He called me over one day and says, what do you think is happening here? And I go, oh no.
Yeah,
So Richard knew about that and he
I
had ordered a part.
we haven't, that's what I was just told, it's
Okay,
sitting
I was
back here
wondering
behind
if
the
you had any
building.
documents or anything like
Yeah.
You got 2 more people came in, by the way.
Oh, who, Georgianne?
Georgianne and Jamie.
Jamie.
Jane, oh, do either one of you want to address the board?
No.
No, okay.
I also wanted on this subject of the sinkholes, the one that is on, Stone Mountain, that's next to that big old,
Yeah.
that big great
We-
thing.
we've already-
And then the one where the bear bottle was, that we thought was a pipe. Neither one of those is finished yet.
We have to wait, we're gonna discuss it.
Okay,
We have to,
okay.
they've been addressed, let me put it that way. At least one of them has been. So, we just wait till we get there, so. Okay, where's my agenda? Okay. Bookkeeper's report,
You want the tax report first or the bookkeeper report?
doesn't matter.
Okay, let's take a look at the tax report just real quick. Look past your summary. In the month of January, after fees and reversals, the district collected $244,670.33. You can look on the last page, second to the last column. For the 2022 tax levy, the district is 81.28% collected, with a total remaining for all years, remaining to be collected of $227,681.55. That's towards the bottom. So that is your tax report.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so next is your bookkeeper report. Look past your cover page. Your account balance page looks very different now. You're gonna see operating fund, capital projects fund, the debt fund, the STP fund, which is your joint sewer treatment plant. And it's called, right now it's called JWP, but it's supposed to be joint drainage. We're trying to get that updated. So total, with all funds being reported, the district has a grand total balance of $7,742,417.86.
So those ones with the zero interest rate, they're not interest-bearing accounts?
The First Financial Bank, the checking accounts typically do not carry, if any, interest, very small percentage. You're going to see your Texas class is at 4.76%. And so we've primarily tried to keep the bulk of the funds in the Texas class and then transfer it to the checking account as needed.
Okay.
On the second page where you have the cash flow report, the checking account,
Right.
I wanted to know, check number 23632, River Plantation STP, purchase sewer, what was that?
I'm going to get into
Okay,
that.
okay.
Because that's new.
Okay.
Okay, so this is your cash flow for your operating account. So you have checks, reporting checks. We'll start with 23608 through 283,637. Total disbursements were $225,475.26, leaving a balance of $127,285.70. So new on this list is that check 3632 River Plantation STP. So what happens is in your joint sewer treatment plant fund, all the invoices that are related to the joint plant are prepared in that fund, and then billing is prepared and sent to River Plantation Operating and East Plantation. So the purchase sewer service is River Plantation's share of that billing, of the joint sewer plant billing. Once the joint drainage fund is operating, you're going to see a check for drainage expense, and that'll be River Plantation's share of those costs. Although most of River Plantation's is actually covered by bond funds, so you probably won't see that for a while, or it'll just be a small check. Okay, so next is your tax deposit accounts with a balance of $1,458.97. That's followed by your online account. This is your operator customer payments account with a balance of $7,113.81. That's followed by your actual versus budget comparison. And so far that's looking good, so nothing to point out really. Okay, that's followed by your East Plantation account receivable. So there's currently a balance of $13,356.63. We did receive the October payments.
So are we, for that August one, are we gonna do late fees?
I will follow up with that, yes.
Okay. They still have the August one outstanding, Davis.
It was an oversight per the their bookkeeper, it was just an oversight, so, but I'll follow up on that.
Thank you, Carol.
You're welcome. So page 9 is the capital projects fund checking with a balance of $322.70. That's followed by your cost comparison of your capital projects fund. If you look towards the bottom, you have remaining costs of $5,545,466.41. Then surplus and interest earned on those money market accounts of $193,067.02. So total funds remaining of $5,738,533.43. And that's just followed by the details for each bond series. If you look to page 13, here is the cash flow for your joint sewer treatment plants. So here you will typically see the accounts receivable payments. There are your receipts. You will see a transfer of $21,000. Because the agreement with East Plantation does not provide for a reserve, the operating transferred $21,000 to actually, assist in paying the bills up front. And you're going to see the first payment from your plantation operating of $15,339.77. So, and then you'll see the checks that were paid out of that account. That is followed by your actual versus budget comparison for the joint sewer treatment plant. So you'll see to the far right the budget for that plant, and it should always be zeros at the bottom because this is just a pass-through account. All the expenses are billed out to the participants. That's followed by your joint drainage actual versus budget. Eventually you'll have a cash flow for this fund as well. That's followed by your balance sheets and your debt payments. Your next debt payment is due March 1st, so our investment team is working on preparing those payments this next week. And lastly is your AWBB conference. The summer conference is scheduled for June 22nd through the 25th in Corpus Christi. And that's your bookkeeper report.
I will say it was a good conference.
Yeah.
Wish we'd been going all along.
This is the one that hasn't come up yet.
This one's in June.
Right.
I'd like to go, but I don't know if my grandson's leaving on the 26th of June for the Marine, so I think I'll be able to make it, but
Well, you can be back.
I'm
Go
gonna try to
ahead,
make
babe.
it. It's not that.
I'm planning on being here so we can go hang out.
There you go.
Cool.
Yep. Okay. All right. Anything else for the bookkeeper before we set her loose? She wants to go?
No, I make a motion we accept
Good.
the bookkeeper's report.
Okay. All right.
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Okay. All right. All right. Next
Carol.
is.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you. Yeah. Next is operators report.
Alrighty, good evening. Should have a copy of our report there in front of you for the month of January. Show you 975 connections, 3 of those vacant. See 61,774.75 in revenue. Beneath that's your gallons billed by user type. For the period ending January 19th, total gallons produced from your wells 6,576,000 gallons. Billed out 6,202,000, accounting for 94% of the water. We have 5 leaks in the district. We took the 6 bacteriological samples as required for the TCEQ. Those results were good. And then beneath that's the summary of your wastewater treatment plant operations for the month of January. The plant's in permit, currently at 71% of the permanent capacity. Beneath that's the notation now on the reuse, so still no reuse. Same discussion as last month. Golf course has had it off, and whenever they're ready for it, it's there.
You're ready, man.
Yes. Beneath that is the notations in terms of customers that have used in excess of, one account that used in excess of 50,000 gallons, and then 4 there from 30,000 to 50,000. Beneath that's the summary of your aid receivables, pretty good shape there, and then the graph there at the bottom just shows your accountability, 2022 or 2023. The following 2 pages is the DMR for January submitted to the TCEQ on the district's behalf. As I mentioned earlier, the plant's in compliance, no issues. Again, to the far right, that 3rd column over, you'll see zeros down the page there, which again indicates that there's no excursions, no violations. So, operationally, things seem to be quieting down.
I have a question.
Tank is back, right?
On the leaks repaired, there's 5 of them. Were any of them Tachus?
Julie and I had that conversation the other day. I think potentially one. Tim, I need to go back and I'll go back and look at the work orders and confirm. And certainly if it is, we'll.
But it's definitely quieted down.
Oh yeah, significantly.
Okay.
Significantly.
Have you ever heard back from those guys? So, okay. So, just to let y'all know, you wanna tell me about our meeting?
So, you know, we've compiled all of the costs that the district incurred as a result of Tachus, and we have submitted, you know, on a couple of occasions, that documentation to their subcontractor, StormTech. Paul and Davis and I, we exchanged emails and conversations that were all related to the same. They had reached out to me many months ago, and ultimately, you know, kind of with the idea to fill out, sitting down and having a conversation, and never really materialized. It's been, you know, we've continued to send these invoices, it's been silent. They reached out to our office last week, and again, expressed interest in sitting down to have a conversation. Reached out to Julie just to let her know, and she attended the meeting, and it was unsuccessful. Let's leave it at that. So.
They took their donuts and went home.
And why did they even want to meet?
Yeah. How much they owe us?
130 something.
Did they offer up anything
No, I mean,
or hope?
you know, Julie and I talked a little bit after they left. I mean, I think the fact that they're even on the phone or even, I mean, I think that's a.
There were 4 of them there.
Right.
Wow.
So,
That's a good indicator. I mean, you know, we deal with this all the time, and I'm telling you, a lot of times these underground fiber optic guys, you know, just as fast as you see them, and they come in and tear everything up, and they're gone and never to be seen again, and you can't find them, and you know, you're just gonna up a creek. I mean, so the fact that we're even, whether we're having productive conversations or not, the fact that we're all having a conversation is at least hopeful. So, you know, I certainly don't want to.
Were they represented by legal counsel?
No.
Did you make no?
No, and I've been in touch, oh, sorry, Dave. Oh, well, you go ahead, Davis.
I was just going to say, to follow up, Keith, I was just going to say, you know, I feel like the difference here, though, is that the scale and extent of the damage is unique, right? It's not unusual to have a fiber optic contractor come in and hit 1 water line, maybe 2, and be difficult to track down. But in this case, they knocked out a public water system and did more than $100,000 in damage to the system. And so, you know, it's a little bit more extreme example. I know Paul's been in contact with them.
Yeah, not for the public section. Well, I'll just say, I've been putting a lot of pressure on the corporate office, but we'll talk in executive. The board, I know, is not gonna wanna let this go. But we're glad we had the meeting. That, as everyone has said, is a good first step. A lot of times they completely blow you off, but we're not gonna go off of promises for much longer. So I think we'll be talking about it later tonight in executive about where to go from here.
Good. So companies like that don't carry insurance coverage for?
these were subcontractors. They sent the subcontractors to talk to us, and whether they turned it into their insurance or not, they should, especially if they're dealing with municipalities and things like that. They should be carrying multiple millions of dollars of insurance, but These, I will say this, these guys all seem to be late 30s, early 40s, and,
Live and learn.
yeah.
I expect that they have insurance, and we'll find out in short order if they don't make it right.
Okay. Is that it?
That's it.
All right.
I make a motion, we accept the, report from the NRC.
Okay. All in favor?
A second.
Oh, second, sorry. All in favor?
All right, thank you.
Resolution affirming identity theft prevention program.
Okay, the Federal Trade Commission requires that you have an identity theft prevention program and that you review it on an annual basis. Your operator maintains the program. It is a confidential program. It is designed to identify individuals who are trying to create fake or fraudulent utility accounts. And so we just asked that Keith confirm that he's not aware of any red flag events and provide a letter to that effect for our file. Generally, we receive notice in the event that there is a red flag.
He's got one right here.
Perfect. On top of it, you
Got it.
okay? And we just need to approve the resolution for compliance purposes.
So, do I have a motion to approve the resolution?
I make a motion, we approve the resolution affirming identity theft prevention program.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Rate order.
Okay, Senate Bill 3 in the last legislative session required that we make some changes to how we operate in freeze events. You may recall that we discussed the notice to customers that went out in your water bills a couple of months ago, a month or so ago. We now need to make changes to the district's rate order to kind of memorialize how we're going to handle things in the event that there is a freeze, namely offer payment plans if people request them, and not terminate utility service during the freeze, right? So pretty obvious stuff. My guess is that when MOC was working frantically to try and keep all their systems running during Winter Storm Uri, they weren't sending people out to shut off water for non-payment, but it is state law. There are penalties for non-compliance, and your rate order is the first document that your operator looks to when there's a policy question. And so we put that language in the rate order just really for compliance purposes. So, and I'll tell you that the definition of a winter storm event or the emergency event is on page 32 of the packet, and page 45 of the packet, section 211 is the really the material text that was added. That's helpful.
Okay. Do we need to have a resolution adopting the rate order?
We do need a motion to approve the new rate order.
Okay.
Make a motion, we approve the rate order.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
And 28 degrees, isn't it? For a certain period of time.
That's exactly right. It's 28 degrees.
So we don't have a lot of time to worry about that.
Okay. Engineers report.
Alrighty, first up, permits, wastewater treatment facility discharge permit renewal. I've got some documents here tonight that Joey's already signed for submitting that renewal. Taking care of all that. Stormwater quality management plan, we'll be submitting that before your next meeting. It does expire, it's required to be in before March 31st. Nothing new on the water plant. Joint projects, East Ditch FEMA work. FEMA's approved the 1-year extension. We're still going through the process of the cost increase request. East Ditch maintenance, I did receive 2 proposals, one from Brightview, one from Stormwater Solutions. The Brightview was $60,000, the Stormwater Solutions was $70,000 on a quarterly basis. I think everybody's kind of fearful of a big rain event happening and it heavily silting in due to backflow and things like that. I don't think, based on talking with them, this is kind of like a max amount. They don't believe it would be that much, and I did do it on an hourly basis. One thing just to note, I did meet with Preston on some other stuff, and he's going to provide me with a contractor At this time, I don't think a decision needs to be made immediately. The ditch was just cleaned out, it looks good still. I'd like to see a decision made in March so that we start that kind of regular cleaning.
Before you go on that, so there's still a lot of sinkholes right next to the ditch, like at the top. I'm concerned about those, people getting injured, falling into them. Some of them are quite huge. Do we need to do something?
Taylor
before
was
we
out
actually,
Tuesday looking.
Yeah, so there was another collapse of the concrete wall. That's where the actively pursuing the East Ditch FEMA work comes in, and just trying to get that processed.
We're talking 6 months till we start, right?
Yeah.
In the meantime, somebody could fall in there and break their leg or worse.
Well, but we're gonna talk about some things in executive session that aren't in place, that need to be in place for us to do some of these things. So, it's great to recognize these things, but legally we have to do certain things and they're not in place for whatever reason.
Could I comment? Add to that, it's been mentioned several years back, the collection, like where the stormwater collection is, and that's 8 to 10 foot drop, and it's concrete, it's not dirt down there. So that's what you want to make sure you have on your list.
It's on the list. You know where it's at.
Yeah, it's talking about the inlet box that's next to the
Right.
pond. Yeah.
Can you at least put some type of tape or something around it so someone doesn't go off on it?
Is that fence not up around it anymore?
No, nothing
The
around.
one on the golf course is not. There's nothing.
It's stretched, the cable's stretched, if weeds grow around, you can't see it.
I thought there was an orange construction
No.
barrier up there for a while.
Not the one we looked at.
Yeah,
Which one are you looking at? The one by the pond?
no, by the ditch.
No, by the ditch.
It's a big collection box for 3 different storm.
Oh, you're talking about the one down here on Brainerd?
Braxton Bragg.
Right.
Braxton Bragg.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's right there on Charleston Park.
It's right behind that new house from across from the HOA.
Correct.
Well, that's what I'm saying, that one right there. There used to be an orange
There's
No,
nothing
there's
there.
not.
construction
And-
fence up
and
around it.
Probably.
Can you get somebody on that?
Yeah.
If someone's running across there and not paying attention,
Yeah.
that cable there is a good trip. That's
Yeah.
just a trip hazard, that's all it is. And
Yeah,
then-
there was an orange construction fence around it for a while, because I drive by it every night going home, and there was a fence there for a while, so.
We'll get one back up, and you'll see that later on in our report down in section 5.
Thank you.
The wastewater treatment facility, I say electrical upgrades, we did meet with East Plantation and discussed with them the scope and everything like that, so hoping to move forward with that come March, if we hear some more stuff back from them. District projects, sanitary sewer, that one, I've got contracts for signatures tonight. That one is scheduled to start on the 13th once we execute the contracts. Water plant number 3, MOC, I don't know why I put MCC, I apologize. MOC is getting underway on that to redo that building. Water plant number 2, electrical upgrades, that design's underway. Gunston Storm sinkhole, we do have a proposal for that in the amount of $5,572 to replace that culvert where that broken pipe is, and you'll have to do some driveway repairs because it's going underneath. Storm sewer phase 1, that design's about 75% complete, but we do request authorization to advertise and bid so that we can hopefully have bids for the March meeting. That's pretty far the way, we're close to ready to go. Obviously, we're identifying some more issues. Sometimes when we're looking at the pipe could be clean, but there could be a hole on top, so I've got scheduled to come out next week. So if anybody has any sinkholes, please coordinate, shoot an email to my office, need my email, let me know where, we'll take a look at it next week so we can add them to the list to make sure that they get on that bid proposal. Construction projects, the clean televised and storm sewer televised, we're asking the contractor for a few missing things, and then the phase 2 sanitary, we're waiting for a couple more videos to come in on that, but no pay applications this month. The last item I have was, I call it use for water plant number 1, park sprinklers, but I met with the irrigation specialist today on site. We walked it, and I would request that we allow the president to approve up to $5,000 to do a exploratory. So the irrigation specialist is gonna come out, they're gonna look at the main, they're gonna work with the golf course to try to pressurize the system if we can still feed it, see what needs to be done, do a whole exploratory, know where everything's located, and then from there, we'll be able to put together a game plan to get it back online and hook it up in several places along the water main.
You're gonna have a hard time doing that. There's too many sprinkler heads missing.
And that, but that's part of the thing, I mean, the water will
That's what we
leak
gotta
out. like,
identify.
it's
Part of the test.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, he had it down to a science, I mean, he didn't
Yeah.
seem any question. I thought it was gonna be a
Probably
lot
if
harder.
water doesn't come out of it.
So you're gonna test
Yeah.
it with the effluent water?
Yeah, we can do a quick test with the effluent water just to get it up and running, just to kind of look at it.
They don't have much. The reservoir's almost empty.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
Cause they haven't taken it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I mean,
We got 400,000 gallons a day, I can get it.
they had all kinds of options, even if that wasn't the case, so, I mean, he seemed to have a pretty good idea of what needed to be done.
And can we do that, even testing it, even though for a park you're not allowed to use effluent?
As long as you're gonna do it on a quick test, I mean, I don't see any issue with it, I mean, we're monitoring the system, it's not like it's spraying everywhere, obviously with a lot of the heads being missing and things like that. So, but it sounds like it's low, so they may even do it with air, he said, so. So, that is it, I need approval to move forward with advertising bid on the, storm sewer.
Oh.
Storm sewer, and then if you guys are up for the proposal on Gunston to fix that sinkhole issue for
Please.
$5,572, and then, authorize Julie to expend up to $5,000, and we'll have that proposal probably tomorrow, or the quote tomorrow to get that work underway. He said it would be around 2,000 or 3,000, but I just wanna make sure that we have enough to cover that.
Because something always happens. Okay. Have a motion?
I have a motion that we accept the Gunston storm sewer sinkhole repair.
All in favor? Oh, seconded? Okay. All in favor? Okay.
Which were the other, storm sewer and sanitary sewer, and then the
Storm
5,000.
sewer and then the 5,000 for the.
Can we make all those in one motion?
Yeah.
And I'd make a motion, we approve all three.
Okay,
I second it.
okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Can I ask a question? Where is the storm sewer phase one? What part of the subdivision? Is it section one?
No, that's all over.
All over.
We're looking at the most critical areas in which we have pipe failures that we found through televising that we're addressing.
Would you comment on section one? Anything in our area, Braxton Bragg?
The limited amount of storm sewer that you guys have in the area limits it, but there are some areas on like Augusta Park and things like that in that easement back there that have some CGMP that is in rough shape. Yeah.
Did we get everything that he needed?
There's some other pages back here.
Yeah, what was the other one we had to do?
5,000 for storm sewer.
No, you guys got all of them. The only other one was showing you guys the bids that came in so far for the maintenance of the ditch, in which we're still waiting on some more, so I'm not requesting any authorization to move forward with any of those.
Okay.
At this time.
Okay.
All right.
So we got them all covered.
Yes.
Okay. All right, release and settlement with Consolidated Communications.
Just report that we have the check in hand. I sent it to Karl for deposit. So all wrapped up.
And that was $1,900 and something dollars? Is that what it was?
It was 1950. That's exactly right.
Okay.
1975, something like that.
And actually, they've already poured the new concrete, so,
Oh, good. Great.
yeah, so.
Yep.
All right, let's skip that one. Annual report to the Texas Comptroller.
Just state law requires that we file an annual report with the comptroller. We just ask for your authorization to file on the district's behalf.
Okay. Do I have a motion? That they file the report with the state comptroller?
I'll make a motion that we accept the annual report to the Texas Comptroller.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. The next thing.
I hate to interrupt, but can I ask another question? Like you said, our section doesn't have much in the way of stormwater. But I guarantee you, there are some ditches, and there's one area there on Alabama Park. It's a culvert. That's the drainage.
The ditches and the culverts are the county's.
The culverts? Well, but this is like 200 feet. And,
Ditches and the culverts are the counties.
and will they clean, so,
I called the other day and they put me on the list to clean mine out. Whenever they got
so I
that.
didn't, here again,
So
I
they'll
always
clean your
talk to you.
culverts?
The culverts, the stormwater drains, I see that. But the ditches, as Charlie, he does say, he doesn't like to see, he doesn't want closed ditches. That's why we have that back there in the back. But he wanted open ditches, and so he wants to see culverts. He doesn't like it, and that's why he probably won't maintain it. And then you
I
have
called the other
culverts.
day and they told me there was no problem getting on the list. They couldn't guarantee me when they'd come, but
Well, the next question would be, what is my order number? What's my number? They identify, because I called, if you're taking work orders and taking requests, you're tagging them, you're identifying them, and you have a reference number to go by. So anytime you make a request to the organization, see what's going on, well, because
I'm sure
I
they
made
have
the
to get
request
enough
and I
out
never
here
got
to
a
make it
reference
work.
number.
And it has to probably be a day when they don't have anything else to do. Important,
I just,
so.
that's all I just wanted to ask.
Yeah. I'm sure that's not tops on their list of priorities, come cleaning my
I know they got a
culverts,
lot
but,
going on, so.
so,
I'm curious about Moss Grove Bridge.
that's the county. That is 100% county, and that's all I can tell you. 10 Commissioners Court,
Oh,
so. Okay. All right, damage to the district's facilities, enforcement action is necessary. We want to talk about that in executive session? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Unless there's anything else, we're gonna adjourn to executive session and thank you all for coming. Do I have, yeah, we have 2 motions. Do I have?
Reopen the meeting.
Oh, yeah, we're back in session at 8:05, is it 8:06? Okay.
I make a motion to start proceeding on the lot owner on Natchez for tree damages and sod repair.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Also make a motion to proceed to take legal actions on the subcontractors and Tackus for the damages.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. That it? We good?
It was your,
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Call this meeting adjourned at 8:00.
We have the motion to
No,
adjourn.
do I have a motion to adjourn? Sorry. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
yeah, I'll make a motion. to
Okay.
adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Next
Adjourned
meeting,
at
March
8:06.
23rd.
Is that what it is?